Hello again, Pietro here. Thanks for clicking on by. So today it's a review within a review within a review. Have you seen the movie Perception? It's kind of like that, but there's no dream sequences. Basically, I want to show you this new tablet, the Amazon Kindle Scribe, but there's not much else I can tell you, so I'm just going to show you how I use it while I review two watches, which are this one right here, the Amazfit Falcon, and the, it's charging, it's on a cable, the Apple Watch. If you're an Apple Watch user, unless you have the Apple Watch Ultra, you're used to charging a lot, so I'm not going to go over that. But what I wanted to compare is heart rate, step count, and sleep, because those are things that they have in common, and some workout tracking. They're both around the same price range, kind of, depending on which Apple Watch you buy, of course. And I like wearing both watches, so that's why we're going to compare them. I know I'm going to get some comments like, wow, you can't compare those two. I mean, it's an Android watch, and the other one's more of an Apple Watch, and yeah, you just can't. Well, it's, it's my video, so I can compare anything I want. But let's just get into it, and you're going to learn about watches today, heart rate, and this little tablet right here. Here we go. Ready? The other one's charging, so. Now when you first turn on your little tablet here, yeah, you'll be directed to this home page. You can quickly go to recent items, which is nice, or you can click on notebooks there. And they do have folders, which I've been utilizing. So I created a folder called Social Media, Personale, Lavoro 2022, Chiesa 2022, one for my son, the Paramount Kid, one for my wife, Better Half, and then I have some random notebooks because I find that's easier to find things. Drag this bar to quickly scroll. Oh, thanks. So I can drag that bar to quickly scroll. Nice. When you search the Kindle, you're searching everything, not just your notebooks, which they could fix that, you know, and you could add really keywords or hashtags, and that's going to help even more. So now we just go to social media, and we can click here on the plus, create new notebook. Now it does not allow you to create a folder within a folder. So I'm just going to do create new notebook. I still have the same 18 choices of templates. I choose this one most of the time just because I don't need the other line structure. And for the way I write, this one works great. And then we can quickly call this Amazfit versus Apple. And then what I do is, and I learned this from my Remarkable and other things, I'll often just use my own hashtags just so I can, you know, keep track of things. There we go. And create. And I really like this dark mode, which is just awesome. Now you are seeing some glares from my lighting in the office, but it's just, watch how awesome this font is. I had a couple people write with this, and they said when you're using see that? It just pops off the screen. And there's your writing sound, very nice. We'll just list the watches here. 1, 2. We have the Amazfit Falcon, which was released about 50 days, about 2 months ago. And I have the Apple Watch 6 LTE. Now, as far as smartwatches, they could not be any different. This one takes a while to charge. This one charges pretty quickly. I haven't had to charge this one for 6 days, and it's been in smart mode. I've been using always on display, as you can see right there. Now, as far as a smartwatch, this one is pretty cool. It has always on display. So does this one. I'll just quickly show kind of a thing. You see right there? The always on display stays on. The watch doesn't know that I'm not wearing it, whereas Apple quickly takes care of stuff like that. You could leave this there for an hour. It'll still stay on the time. That's just kind of weird. So on the left, we'll have the Amazfit. So we'll start with resting HR. Now I'm cheating. I'm not using the stylus that came with the tablet because I didn't upgrade. I got the basic stylus. So I'm using my Remarkable stylus. So right there you saw refresh. That's just something that happens. So we'll do average HR, then we'll do max HR, and we'll do resting HR, and then we'll do time asleep. We'll do a sleep score because I like the sleep score, and then we'll do deep sleep and light sleep, and we'll categorize REM and steps, and finally calories. And that's all we're going to look at. Okay, here we go. This part's going to take a while, so I'm just going to do a time lapse for validity and play some nice music for you. There we go. Was that helpful? Do you trust me now that I'm not making up all this data? So that was all from yesterday during Monday, and then I've been wearing both watches today, except for the last hour when I put back on this Polar Grit X, which now I'll take off, set that aside, and I was wearing the Fitbit Sense 2, and I'm gonna put that back where I've been wearing it all day, which is on my ankle within my sock. Yeah, I know it's weird, but actually, the data collection's not that off, and mostly I'm concerned about steps because I gotta stay on the leaderboard. All right, so now I'm gonna put this one back on my left wrist, and I'll finish that for the rest of the day. And the Apple Watch is at 90, ooh, 100%, perfect. It was just at 98. The battery life is going down, so it's a little, yeah. And based off my experience with this Falcon watch, the battery is at 35%. So I am good for another 2 days, easy, unless I use a ton of GPS. So quite the summary we have here. Quite close, but different. It's hard on these watches when you compare them because the way they tell you info is slightly different. Apple doesn't necessarily give you the average HR, it gives you that range. So 58 to 138, whereas the Falcon said 76. And then we have a max HR of 138 by Apple, 139 by Falcon. Resting heart rate, 64, 66. Interesting. And then sleep score, Apple doesn't have a sleep score yet, but deep sleep, way different. Apple said I had 51 last night, 25 minutes. And then light sleep, they both don't really have that. And they both don't really calculate awake time, which is hard. But REM, hour and 4 by Falcon, hour and 10 by Apple. Step count, a difference of about 400. They both registered slightly over 5,000. And then calories, very different. And lowest heart rate, 55 by Falcon, whereas Apple said it dropped to only 58. 4-beat difference? That's hit or miss. Now I'll quickly get all the stats from today. Be right back. There's the whole review within a review. So to create a new page on this Scribe, you just swipe to the right. So now I can quickly just keep this, and we'll do a Amazfit versus Apple. And then I always date things because that's how I roll. And we'll call this Day 2. I love the writing sound. I'll do it close to the mic here. Now, a nice thing here, when you click on this little button here, if you click on the eraser and do a long press again, you just tap and then tap again, you can do a fine eraser like that, or you can do thin all the way up to heavy, which is a really big eraser, or you can do erase section or selection. Ta-da! Very cool. Hopefully they add a lasso for copying and pasting. And then also for the one pen you have, you can do fine, thin, medium, thick, heavy, and you'd also do undo. So if I do a big H, I can just undo that stroke by stroke, or I can redo it as well. Now with this stylus, I can also just erase like that. Now the other thing to keep in mind with this scribe that I've learned is when you look at templates, so if I click right here and go to settings, that's not the settings for this, that's the settings for everything. So I close that, takes me back. Now if I click right here, I can move this around, or if I tap again, I can go to the settings for this notebook, and I can change the cover to show current page. And if I change the template, it changes the template for the entire notebook, not that one page. Food for thought there. But it is nice that they give you the option to change it. So if you didn't like the template and you want to go with more lines, yeah, that's fine. But now if we go, it kind of messes everything up. So now we have to click tap, go back to the settings, and change that. Otherwise it messes up the grid. So swipe, and now we'll do day 2. The other cool thing is, so I want to copy that same format and keep it uniform. If I close this, it's going to automatically save, and open up your Android, open up the Kindle app, go to more, notebooks, and that new notebook that I just created should show up here. So it went back to my last location, notebook, go to all notebooks, refresh it, and I want to go to social media. Okay, it's not there yet, so I just have to pull this down and hit sync. So now it said it just synchronized. So if I click refresh again, there we go. So now I can reference page 1 to copy the same type of format. So it has all the up-to-date settings, and that's what it looks like. Now I can't share this from here, but I'm sure that's something that they'll fix soon. I can't even really download it yet, but you can share an entire notebook at a time right from here. So I'll go back to social media, and I'll highlight that. And then I have open, rename, move, remove download, permanently delete, or share. So I'm going to click share. And as soon as you click on share, it's going to have your default email in here, which, sorry, I don't want to show you. Or you can do share via email. So as soon as you click on share via email, then you can just type in the email address that you want, and you can do multiple emails. So as soon as you send in your notebook, your email is on its way. It may take a couple of minutes to arrive. So refresh rate is not too bad at all. I really don't mind how it refreshes. Bummer, I messed up. I forgot to type in deep sleep. So this is where the lasso would help, because then I could just like move that down, but instead I have to do the eraser lasso because I find that to be the easiest. And this would be also a nice thing where I could like zoom in. You know, it's quite funny when I started wearing these two watches. I'm like, you know, they are going to be so different. Like the health stats, you're going to be surprised. And here we are at day 2. Big differences right here on lowest heart rate. And I'll use the highlighter stylus here. So I thought this one was really kind of a wow, 8 beats. But the average heart rate, 59 to 134 versus 73. The max heart rate today has only been off by 1. Not a big deal. Resting heart rate, 68 versus 62 to 66. And again, all the stats on the right are from the Apple Watch, and on the left are the Amazfit. Deep sleep, 4-minute difference. Sleep score, again, Apple doesn't have that yet. I'm sure they will. REM, only a few minutes off. Awake, huge difference there. Perhaps my right arm moves that much more. And then naps, no naps today. Step count, only a couple hundred off. Calories, about 70 less. And stand hours, this is kind of weird. They're both the same right now, but the stair count is 5 off. And this is where it gets really confusing, because to see your stair count, you go to your little activity window right here. Very cool, right? Just click on that. It has your steps today, the goal, yesterday's steps, very nice. Fat burning, 24 minutes of fat burn. Stand, 11. Now, if I go inside the app, I can't find that same info. So overall, I would say the Falcon is quite a bit more inconsistent on what it displays on the watch versus what it displays on the app, where Apple is very consistent between the watch and the app on the phone. The downside to both, well, I'll just summarize this. This one has everything in one app, where Apple, you're constantly going between these two apps, the fitness app and the health app. I kind of want them to just combine it all. And then, yeah, that part's confusing for Apple. So I do like how Amazfit has kept everything in the Zep app. I don't know why they call it Zep instead of just Amazfit, whatever. So there you go. That's my data on this tablet called the Scribe by Amazon, the Kindle Scribe. Yeah. So an amazing tablet, 2 very interesting watches. I have to admit, I like the Apple Watch better because it is more consistent. It's more refined. This is the first generation of this kind of higher end watch that Amazfit created. Sapphire screen, it's circular, but they both have a lot of similarity, and the accuracy, it's getting there with the Falcon. It's not as bad as I thought. One thing that is bad is it takes a little while to get your heart rate. So when you're working out, sometimes you look down and this will be 10 or 20 beats, either higher or lower than Apple. So Apple does a better job at being consistent and quickly reading your heart rate. The other day, I tried to do a live heart rate on this, and after 2 minutes, the live heart rate never showed up. Yeah. Just a note to any watchmakers, if you're going to display data on the watch, make sure it goes in the app. That's really confusing for users. So there's day 1 and day 2, but wait, there's more. This is day 5 with this device, and man, do I like it. I do recommend splurge the extra $30. Don't get the basic pen, or just use your Remarkable pen if you have one of those. It's really thin, it just works. Sometimes the little sensor for switching orientation, I have not been able to figure out how to do horizontal notebooks yet, or horizontal reading. Not sure why you'd want to do that, but it works really well as a combination between a reader and a writer. Dinner's ready. I'll be back in a bit. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for your time. I know there's a few people out there reviewing tech and tablets and watches, but how many of them are me? I came to that realization a long time ago. No one has my voice, no one has my perspective, and no one has yours. So I'm glad there's lots of people reviewing these gadgets. I'll have more on the Kindle Scribe soon. Love the placeholder that it does when it goes into standby. Fun stuff. And yes, it is thin. Not as thin as Remarkable if you watched my first one on the device, but thin nonetheless. And more on the Falcon and more on the Apple Watch soon. If you'd like more comparison videos, I do a lot of those on my other channel, The Man with 2 Watches. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Goodbye.